All right, let's talk about note-taking. For most of us, it's a chore, right? Something we just have to do. Well, today, we're going to flip that on its head. We're going to help you transform note-taking from this passive task into a powerful skill for thinking. The goal? To turn you from just a collector of facts into a real curator of knowledge. So let me just ask you this, and be honest. Take a look at your notes, the ones you have right now. Are they actually helping you connect ideas and think more deeply, or are they just kind of a messy pile of stuff you read once? It's a super common problem. We think we're being productive, but a lot of the time, our notes end up as just a big collection of facts. They're not actually a tool that helps us understand things. We're basically treating note-taking like a storage unit, not like a workshop for our brain. So in this explainer, we're going to fix that. So how do we start building better notes? Well, here's the secret. The really important work begins before you even read a single word. It's all about setting a solid foundation first. And this foundation has 2 steps. They're simple, but you just can't skip them. First, you've got to create focus. That means finding a time and a place where you won't be distracted. Seriously, without your full attention, your notes are just going to be shallow. Second, define your purpose. Before you dive in, just take a second to look at your research questions and ask, what am I actually looking for here? This gives your brain a target to aim for. And this quote, oh man, this is the absolute golden rule. It just gets right to the heart of it. Our brains are naturally drawn to all sorts of shiny, interesting facts and little bits of trivia, but a really effective researcher knows how to ignore what's merely interesting and hunt for what's truly relevant, the stuff that directly answers their questions. You have to be a hunter, not just a casual browser. Okay, so our foundation is set. Now we can get into the process itself. This is where the real shift happens. You stop being a passive sponge just soaking everything up, and you start acting like a detective, sifting through the evidence with a critical eye. So to be a good detective, you need to operate in 2 modes at the same time: capture and filter. Think of it like tuning an old-school radio. You want to capture the clear signals, the really valuable info like bibliographic details or places where experts disagree, but at the exact same time, you have to actively filter out all the static, the noise like emotional arguments or claims with zero evidence. Let's look a little closer at those signals you want to capture. Bibliographic info? That's a no-brainer. If you can't cite it, you can't use it. But the next 2 are all about critical thinking. Learning to spot the difference between a fact and an opinion forces you to really evaluate the evidence. And when you find experts who actually disagree with each other, that's pure gold. That's where new ideas are born. Now for the noise. Here's a huge red flag you need to learn to filter out: the sweeping generalization. These are those big, broad statements that use absolute words like all or never, but have no real evidence to back them up. The example here is perfect. All Algerian students of English have writing problems. That word all makes the whole statement fall apart. The second you see language like that, your filter should go on high alert. Okay, so you've taken focused, relevant notes. You've filtered out the noise, but the work is not done. This last phase is what really separates the good note takers from the great researchers. It's time to organize, think, and of course, save your work. And this right here might be the single biggest takeaway from all of this. The most valuable part of your notes is not what the author said. It's the conversation you have with the author in the margins. It's your questions, your critiques, your connections to other ideas. That is where your own original thinking comes to life. So how do you actually capture your own thinking? Here are a few practical tips. First, always mark your own ideas, maybe with a star or your initials, so you never confuse your voice with the author's. Next, don't worry about perfect grammar. Just get the thought down before it disappears. Use abbreviations to keep up with your brain. And finally, and this is a big one, try to review your notes within a day or so, just to make sure that brilliant idea you had still makes sense to you. And that brings us to our final point in this section, and it's all about this number, 3. What in the world could that be? Well, it's the number of copies of your notes you should always have. I know, it sounds simple, but think about it. You've put in hours of hard work creating this knowledge. The last thing you want is to lose it all to a crashed hard drive or a lost notebook. Protect your work. So let's wrap this all up and look at the key takeaways. This is your official note-taking upgrade. We've gone from being a passive collector to being an active strategic curator of information. So here it is, your new and improved workflow, all in one place. It's a simple but really powerful four-step process. First, you set the foundation with focus and purpose. Second, you act like a detective, capturing the signals and filtering out the noise. Third, you add your insight, which is the most important part. And finally, you protect your work. This isn't just a list of tips, it's a whole new system for thinking.
So as we close out, I'll leave you with this final question. You don't have to do all of this at once. That can be overwhelming. Just ask yourself, based on everything we've just talked about, what is the one change you can make to your process starting today that will help you become a better thinker?